So now we await the announcement and introduction of the fighters in the 60-kilogram lightweight bout.
Well, Cuba setting out its stall here tonight, and Rolando Archibald, the head coach of the Cubans, delighted, I would suspect, with that opening bout. We go to lightweight at 60 kilograms. And coming out for the Russian boxing team, Konstantin BOGOMAZOV. BOGOMAZOV currently ranked number 20 in the WSB. 22 years of age. Had one outing. Came up against Polish fighter Dawid Paweł Mikulus. Week 6. Won on points. Good performance from BOGOMAZOV. It's the numbers up on screen. Last season, not such a good turnout. Had 2 losses with 1 win on points. He's a 2009 youth national champion. Took silver. 2009 national championship quarter-finalist. The 2010
Lazaro, ALVAREZ.
national champion quarter-finalist. Coming out for Cuba. Lazaro ALVAREZ comes to this with a 5-0 WSB record, currently ranked number 1. The Russian definitely got his work cut out for him here. Just 23 years of age. Had straight wins this season.
Lazaro ALVAREZ hot-stepping his way to the boxing ring, and that is a place where he is immensely comfortable. Really putting on a show for the crowd before he enters his place of work, and once he gets in there, well, he often produces artistry that is a delight to behold. That new hairstyle giving him a look of a prime Sugar Ray Robinson, just that flick of hair down on the forehead, and when he boxes, not to overstate it, but he produces artistry that the pound-for-pound greatest boxer to ever walk the face of the earth would be proud of. He really is an immense talent. The reigning AIBA World Championship gold medalist from Almaty, Kazakhstan last year at lightweight. And that after taking the 2011 title at 56-kilogram bantamweight. So this man, Konstantin BOGOMAZOV, really does have his work cut out.
Lazaro ALVAREZ.
Lazaro ALVAREZ, the #1 ranked World Series boxing fighter, looks to extend his unbeaten ledger here in season 4.
Virado la cabeza, watch your red, no low blow, no golpe abajo, fair play, buena fortuna.
So Lazaro ALVAREZ
Sharakanazar.
against Konstantin BOGOMAZOV. 60-kilogram action in World Series boxing. So here we go then, the opening bell sounds in the first of a scheduled 5 3-minute rounds. It's a 60-kilogram lightweight division. And the boxer operating out of the southpaw stance on the front foot, wearing white trunks trimmed with red, white and blue. It's Lazaro ALVAREZ, the home fighter representing the Cuba Domadores. His opponent, also operating out of the southpaw stance in solid white trunks, is Konstantin BOGOMAZOV. BOGOMAZOV, 22 years of age, the reigning national champion at 60 kilograms from Russia after winning 5 bouts in 5 days to take that national title. But he really is against the man, well, as his credentials suggest, is the best in the world. Reigning champion from the AIBA World Championships in 2013. That was his 2nd world title in his 2nd weight class after taking bantamweight gold in 2011 in Baku, Azerbaijan, when he outpointed the man who would go on to become the Olympic champion, Luke Campbell, in the final. But there really isn't much in a boxing ring that Lazaro ALVAREZ cannot do. 23 years of age now. He's the AIBA #1 ranked boxer in that code of boxing as well. And he's the #1 in World Series boxing. We commented on his new hairstyle. The thing is, when you have a hairstyle like that, any shot that you take tends to be accentuated as your forehead flicks back, but he's not taking too many of them, to be fair. But Bogomazov not intimidated by the reputation of the man he's fighting, and he's currently on the front foot and taking the fight to the reigning AIBA world champion.
Well, Bogomazov straight in from the start, leading off that right hand, penetrating right hand jab, and he's really put Lazaro Alvarez under a bit of pressure here in the first round. Keeping him moving, keeping him working, and Bogomazov, well, as Ron has said, unperturbed by the reputation that precedes the Cuban. It's a tight performance here from the Russian. He's starting to take shots, and we're starting to see some well, showboating from Alvarez. But this is a solid performance so far from the Russian. Moving forward, putting the Cuban under pressure. However, the Cuban now starting to get shots, and there's the right hand. It's a knockdown! Oh my goodness gracious me! Alvarez pulled out a right hand, short, sharp, shocking right hand, and down went the Russian.
And that is the danger. Alvarez comfortable boxing in any direction. Here you see him on the front foot. He scored that knockdown going backwards. And it's a significant anniversary of Ray Robinson landing with one of the sweetest punches in boxing history with the left hook that he produced on the retreat. Not suggesting that's of the same order, but Alvarez so comfortable in the boxing ring. His hands down by his waist, moving back, boxing balletic grace both left and right. We've seen him produce a knockout punch on his back foot, then applied the pressure on the front foot. Alvarez in complete control during that opening round, despite the best efforts of aggressive intent from Bogomazov.
Well, finishing strongly. Bogomazov drops a right hand in, but we get a chance to revisit on tape. Well, that short, sharp, shocking right hand that caused the big problems here tonight. We saw a hint of it there with a left hand, but going backwards in the corner, drops him like third-grade French. It was a great cracking shot, and I have to say that for Konstantin Bogomazov, he was between a dog and a lamppost in this first round. He had to come forward, he had to pressurize the Cuban, but actually in doing so left himself exposed, and that was a perfectly timed shot, hit the sweet spot, and it was all over. And you can see the Cubans absolutely delighted with that. Obviously the judges' scorecards reflect that. 10-9, 10-9, 10-9 across the board for the Cuban. We go to 2, and this is going to be a tough night in the office for Konstantin Bogomazov.
So into the second round we go. Scheduled for 5 threes here in World Series boxing action. Of course, unlike professional boxing, a knockdown isn't automatically a 10-8 round in World Series boxing. Although given the dominance that was demonstrated in just about every facet of the game from Alvarez, perhaps can consider himself a touch unlucky that he only took that opening round by a score of 10-9 for the 3 scoring judges. Now on the back foot once again, hands continue to be down by his waist as his back skimming the ropes. Bogomazov in pursuit, but struggling to find the range.
So much more confidence already we're seeing from Alvarez. He knows he's in control here, so this is a case of cruising, and you can see the relaxed style, the confidence, and we're starting to see the excellence and skills that we know this Cuban fighter can produce. You have to, you know, give credit to Bogomazov. He's come back into this round looking to try and wrest control back, but this is going to be a really tough struggle for the Russian. Left-right combination there, very slick work from the Cuban, but again Bogomazov has to drive forward to try and take control, but he's going to take shots coming in as he does so.
Continuing to press home with aggressive intent is Bogomazov, but the crisper shots, the more eye-catching shots are coming from Alvarez as he just boxing so comfortably on the back foot, swaying back from the waist. Textbook coaches will tell you, oh, as he drives a hard right hand into the solar plexus, does Alvarez. So Bogomazov, you have to admire his intent, you have to admire his commitment, but really being outboxed here in just about every mode that he tries. Good right hand to the body beneath the left elbow of Bogomazov once again. Into the final minute of this second round. And the golfing experience just becoming to be more apparent as we move deep into this second round. Two world titles for Alvarez. Of course, he's the Olympic bronze medalist as well, losing to John Joe Nevin in the semi-final London 2012. He scored with 2 hard shots to the body. And losing to John Joe Nevin, that denied us the opportunity to see a rematch with Luke Campbell, who of course went on to beat Nevin and take that Olympic title in his home Olympics in London last year. So the 10-second clapper sounds, approaching the conclusion of this second round. Alvarez boxing beautifully. Look at that, first and third during that exchange. Scored with the shot. Bogomazov missed with the right hand and then tagged him again with another single. And that really, the fight in microcosm for Alvarez.
So a chance to revisit the action, and in absolute control, Lazaro Alvarez working off the back foot in the corner. That's where he did the damage the last time, drawing the Russian in, and in doing so exposing. Bogomazov came into the second round as if the first round hadn't happened, but of course it had, and Alvarez always in control here and had the confidence. So there's the judges, 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, A, B and C in favor of, as you'd suspect, Lazaro Alvarez.
So the opening bell sounds to begin round number 3. Alvarez has been in complete control through the completed 2 rounds. Has taken those in unanimous fashion for all 3 of the scoring judges. And really, it's a delight to watch this man do his thing. Russian fans and fans of Bogomazov perhaps won't think so, as Russia are trying to find a way back into this contest, but we've talked about his credentials on a global stage. He's a reigning Pan Am Games champion as well. But surprisingly, given the way he's dominating the global scene and the continental scene, has only 1 national senior title to his name, as he just employed some brilliant boxing, scoring with 2 shots before dancing out of harm's way of the attempted offensive foray of the Russian. Good right hand, left hand over the top, good work to the body from Bogomazov. But only 1 national title to his name. That's when he took the 2013 national crown at 60 kilograms. Got a silver medal at 56 kilograms last year, when he lost to the brilliant young Cuban Robesi Ramirez, who took the Olympic title at just 18 years of age in London. So he's moved up in weight. They've got Robesi Ramirez at 56 kilograms. The Cuban juggernaut rolls on. Cuban flair combined with precision and passion and coaching techniques of the highest order makes them one of the best boxing nations on earth. Perhaps not the dominant nation they were throughout the 70s, 80s and 90s. Kazakhstan perhaps hold that title at the moment, but Cuba still a force to be reckoned with. And this man, the boxing skills that he's demonstrating up there in the ring are a prime example as to why.
Well, round 3, the pivotal round, and that must be very, very prominent in Bogomazov's mind, because this is a very strong performance going into the last minute here. Bogomazov actually making inroads. There's no doubt that the Cuban Alvarez is still behind the driving wheel here, but Bogomazov keeps coming forward, takes a big left hand to the temple. Now the combinations start to flow, and Alvarez just keeping Bogomazov in check.
Well, Bogomazov remaining committed to the cause for himself and for his team, and looking to engage in exchanges. But when the 2 boxers do exchange, from this vantage point, it appears as though he's coming out second best, but continuing to remain on the front foot, continuing to pursue Alvarez as he gets through with a good right jab, left hand combination before the boxers exchange shots to the body. But again, it's Alvarez who comes out of that exchange with the more eye-catching shots and what appear to be the harder shots as we approach the closing stages of this 3rd round. All action round. It's a rather forlorn looking walk back to his blue corner for Bogomazov. Alvarez demonstrating flashes of brilliance once more, but again, the fighting spirit and the commitment to the cause of Bogomazov have to be commended.
Well, the tail of the tape just shows us how much BOGOMAZOV has improved during these 3 rounds. This 3rd round, pivotal, and he came out looking maybe to claw this bout back, but it was a strong performance from Alvarez. He was always in control, but some nice work from the Russian, but I think the judges will tell us that that tally is not enough.
So encouragement and instruction coming from the Russian corner. He's taken a share of that 3rd round, the first time he has done so.
Well, as I said, it was a stronger round for the Russian. He landed some good shots. One judge saw it in favour. It's not enough. That 3rd pivotal round gone in favour of the Cuban. So unless BOGOMAZOV, and he has the potential to do this, can remove the judges from the equation, then it's going to be, well, a straight 5 win for Alvarez. But it ain't over till it's over. Going into round 4, BOGOMAZOV driving forward, and Alvarez in control, as you'd imagine.
Short arcing punches getting through from BOGOMAZOV at mid and short range, and look at the intensity with which he's going about his work, really stalking and walking down Alvarez now. Alvarez content to engage reverse gear, takes a big single from BOGOMAZOV. Hasn't deterred him though. Pivoted beautifully there to turn his man and put him in the corner, did Alvarez. And that's where you see the ring generalship coming into play. Not just naked aggression, but brilliant boxing on the back foot, on the front foot, moving laterally as well. Because BOGOMAZOV has demonstrated one mode of boxing to this point, and that is going forwards. And when you have only one mode of boxing, you perhaps become easier to read when dealing with a skilled adversary like Lazaro Alvarez. But again, BOGOMAZOV continuing to pour his way forwards, got through with a nudging left uppercut at close quarters, but Alvarez barely missing a beat. Remaining calm, remaining poised and in control, snaking out shots from his belt line, and really penetrating the high-held gloves of BOGOMAZOV beyond the halfway stage of this 2nd round.
So cruising now, Alvarez. Great lateral movement. Drawing in BOGOMAZOV, looking to work the counter. And I have to say, it's an incredible display of heart here from BOGOMAZOV. He was knocked down in the 1st round, and had to struggle through the 2nd. Strong performance in the 3rd. Convinced one of the judges to see things in his favour. I still say it's not over till it's over. And a good right hand there landing from BOGOMAZOV. And this has been a very exacting fight in terms of energy, and it could be now that at this stage, well, having to keep out of the way of some of that pressure, Alvarez might just open up and make a little mistake here. BOGOMAZOV throwing 120% into this, hurling himself at the Cuban, and a lot of work from Alvarez in terms of keeping out of harm's way.
But as he's throwing himself forward, he's walking into shots, and the closing 12 seconds or so of that round from Alvarez were absolutely mesmerizing, because as you pointed out, BOGOMAZOV kept pouring his way forwards, but on the retreat, Alvarez able to engage reverse gear and just pick off the advancing man. And that, as any boxer will tell you, often doubles the impact of the shots. So BOGOMAZOV, again, made to miss and made to pay instantly, snaking left hand over the top before being tagged to the body, and then Alvarez just moves to the side and is no longer there. Really painful conclusion to the round. And again, you can just see on these slow motion replays, look at BOGOMAZOV letting his hands go, and that was the intense work to the body to close the session from Alvarez. Punching and missing after taking shots from the Cuban maestro. So Alvarez takes the 4th round in unanimous fashion. Comprehensive lead now. BOGOMAZOV going to need all of his intensity and educated pressure to try and bring about a stoppage in this contest, because as we move into the 5th and final round, Alvarez leads by a proverbial country mile. Bogomazov, though, as he has done throughout the contest, despite taking that knockdown in the opening round, continuing to drive forwards. But watch as he drives forwards, as Alvarez was just short on arranging that shot. Bogomazov, he's having some success getting to the body, but look at how Alvarez is able to navigate his way around the boxing ring. Adjustments of mere inches causing Bogomazov to miss, but now he's pinning his man on the ropes and having some success with a foray to the body. Alvarez content to cover up, not unduly disturbed by those punches, but you really have to admire the enthusiasm with which Bogomazov is going about his work.
Well, the old adage, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, could well apply to this. There's still a lot to play for here, because now we're seeing Alvarez starting to take shots, and they're big. And I have to say, psychologically, for the Cuban to have thrown the kind of punches, to have demonstrated the kind of work that he has during this fight, to still see his opponent still there, coming at you, taking the best that you can give. And there's no doubt that the Russian is being outclassed here, but Bogomazov is driving forward and looking to bring about a decisive decision here.
Well, the late great Emmanuel Stewart, the trainer out of the Kronk Gym in Detroit, said a determined man is a dangerous man. And right now, Bogomazov remains very determined and extremely dangerous, because he's continuing to fight for all he is worth, for himself and the Russian cause, in pursuit of the Cuban maestro Lazaro Alvarez. He's been comprehensively outboxed through 4 completed rounds. But just look at the fighting spirit that he's continuing to demonstrate, and that is what World Series boxing means to these guys. Not boxing only for themselves, but for their team and for the nation.
So with just a minute left now, the action really starting to step up as the Cuban under pressure here. Look at Bogomazov, headhunt here. He knows what he's got to do, but the Cuban is keeping him out. And this is going to be the tale that will define this fight, this last round, because Alvarez, if exposed and takes a shot, that will reverse all that good work we've seen before. Just over half a minute left, the closing round here, round 5, and the atmosphere absolutely ecstatic here. And I have to say, man of the match here, although we've seen a classic and class performance from the Cuban, you have to give it to Bogomazov. He's just driven forward and taken everything that Alvarez has got to give.
A rare backward step from Bogomazov in these closing stages, because the foray that Alvarez put forward brought the crowd to his feet and drove the Russian backwards. And he's taking some stinging punches, but still throwing leather of his own. And as the bell sounds to conclude a pulsating lightweight contest, there can be no doubt about the winner. It is the man in the red corner who is greeted by high fives and embraces as he returns to his red corner, Lazaro Alvarez. The reigning world champion, the Olympic bronze medalist, the reigning Pan Am Games champion, was absolutely superb during that contest. But this man deserves immense credit for the competitive spirit that he demonstrated. And in the 5th round, he was dropped in the 1st. In the 5th, he got onto the front foot, tried to pin Alvarez to the ropes, and really let his hands go. But at the conclusion of the round, he was put under this type of pressure. Was forced to take a rare backward step towards the conclusion of that round, having expended so much energy in the first 2 minutes of the round. But he deserves immense credit for the commitment that he demonstrated.
Drove forward, and at one stage it looked as if Alvarez had nothing left to draw on. The tank was running just a little bit low towards the end of the 4th round, and going into that 5th, that strong comeback from Bogomazov really took it to the wire. But it's a foregone conclusion, and we're going to wait to hear what is
resultado del combate, división 60 kilogramos.
That I don't think will be any surprise to anyone watching.
50-45.
The judges' decisions
Juez
are as follows.
2, 48-47. Juez 3, 49-46. El vencedor por votación unánime de los Domadores de Cuba, Lazaro Alvarez.
So Lazaro Alvarez has his left hand raised by the referee at ring center in acknowledgement of the fact that he has just taken a unanimous points win. 2 of the judges seeing the final round for the spirited performance produced by Bogomazov. But Alvarez had enough in the tank and demonstrated enough in that 5th round to secure a unanimous points decision. Cuba lead 2-0 on the night, 5-2 on aggregate. Russia really steering down the barrel of elimination from World Series Boxing Season 4 playoff action here tonight, because after 2 completed bouts, they have lost both of them. Cuba victorious at flyweight, victorious at lightweight, with 3 bouts remaining. Russia have to take all 3 if they hope to force sudden death. So Alvarez, again, embraced by friends and family in the crowd. Cuban compatriots who are delighted at what they have just witnessed. And for 4 out of 5 rounds, it was a boxing masterclass. Going forwards, going backwards, moving laterally left and right. And again, we have to give Bogomazov immense credit, because he remained on the front foot and in the fight right to the final bell, but ultimately dropped the unanimous points decision.